Newa.com/149.
Bring your visions to life with smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need to achieve your goals. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Between groceries, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Thinking about a custom build, planning a remodel, or adding an ADU for extra space or rental income? Able Builders specializes in custom homes, full remodels, additions, and accessory dwelling units, all built with expert craftsmanship and clear communication from start to finish. No shortcuts, no surprises, just quality work done right. When it's time to invest in your home and build something that truly fits your life,
bring Able to the table.
Call 303-590-5600.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan and Pepsi at King Soopers 1650 30th Street in Boulder, now until 6 p.m. Stop by for your chance to win tickets to tonight's Nuggets game and sample Gatorade's lower sugar line. Don't miss it.
Jacob's Law and 303 Law 4040. I want to tell you about one of the cases I'm most proud of. And it's not because the number is eye-popping, although it is. It's because the clients trusted us to get them justice, and we delivered for them. Our clients were a wonderful couple, weren't looking to get rich. In fact, they kept saying, Dan, we're not looking to set any records here. But they were seriously injured, and despite promising to take care of them, when it came time to do the right thing, the insurance companies played hardball. We set it for trial and wound up getting $8.5 million. Plus, my lovely wife, Kimberly, was able to get all of their medical bills wiped out, putting hundreds of thousands of extra dollars in the clients' pockets. We were proud to help because our clients were good-hearted people who deserved justice. We hope you never need us, but if you do, we are here to help at 303 Law 4040, where you always get to meet directly with me and my lovely wife, Kimberly. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. That's 303 Law 4040.
Join Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan on March 27th at the Basketball Social House for a live broadcast from 2 to 6 p.m. with The Drive. The first-of-its-kind sports bar and basketball suites experience is calling. Eat, drink, and catch every game on massive screens and shoot some hoops.
Some people pay $100 a month for phone service. Text Now gives you 5G without the 5-figure commitment. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited freedom to switch things up. Try Text Now today.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more, DenverSports.com.
And it is Denver Sports Tonight on this Wednesday night in the Mile High City. He's Dante Gomez. I'm Will Peterson. We will roll with you for the next hour. Good to be here. Lots to dive into. Broncos had a couple interesting nuggets that we will begin with, and then no pun intended, we will get to the Nuggets and a Nikola Jokic masterclass last night in Phoenix, as well as the Avalanche smacking the Penguins by a final score of 6-2. Although I watched that entire hockey game, it was closer than the final score would indicate. Scott Wedgwood stood on his head. So plenty to do over the next hour. Dante, though, we begin with J.K. Dobbins going on the NFL Network. Late yesterday afternoon, interview didn't really surface until yesterday evening. So this is stuff that has been reacted to throughout the day here on the station. Our guy Andrew Mason wrote a couple stories about it at DenverSports.com. And J.K. Dobbins didn't get a press conference when he re-signed with the Broncos because that's not Sean Payton's style. Would have loved if we could have all gone down to Broncos Park powered by Common Spirit and interviewed J.K., but I thought NFL Network, led by Ian Rappaport, did a really good job on this interview. And before we get into it, because there's plenty to unpack, I got to start here, Dante. Pound for pound, for my money, and yes, I understand there's 1,500 NFL players. For my money, J.K. Dobbins is the best interview in the NFL.
Oh.
Every single time that guy talks, he says something interesting. He says something revealing. He genuinely answers the question. He doesn't just rattle off cliches. I think every time J.K. Dobbins gets in front of a microphone, he makes news because he tells us stuff. And 90% of these guys are so PR trained to not tell us anything. Again, I'm sure there's a second-string guard for the Cleveland Browns that has a podcast that's epic. I don't know. But just broad, sweeping generalization. And I'd be curious if the text line or you can come up with one. Who's a better interview right now in the league than J.K. Dobbins?
I think that's a good question. And just he has some charisma too. There's something about people describe it in showbiz of like he's got it. J.K. Dobbins has it. There's something there that when he talks, it's just one of those. He seems like he's your buddy talking to you. He's gonna smile. He's gonna laugh. He's gonna crack jokes. So there's no one off the top of my head. I'll have to do some more research prior to 100% agreeing with you here. But definitely, at least on the Broncos, I think he's the best interview that you're going to get.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sean Payton from time to time as well, I'd put in that.
But you got to sort through all the other stuff. Well, back in 2003, me and Parcells,
Well, relative to.
But
no, you're right. I mean, Bo Nix doesn't say anything really, unless the only time he's really gone out of his way to say anything was when he called his own press conference, reportedly, and had the Zoom conference where he called out Sean Payton. Other than that, Bo Nix, for the most part, gives some pretty cliche answers, which I get it. You're the quarterback of an NFL franchise. It's probably what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Bo Nix generally stays in his lane, has some hidden gems here and there, can be sneaky funny, but you can listen to a 10-minute Bo Nix press conference and maybe not learn anything. J.K. Dobbins was on the NFL Network last night for 7 minutes, and I felt like I learned 7 different things. Mark of a good interview, but let's hear your candidate.
Jameis Winston.
Okay, you've put someone in the running. Yep, that's a good one.
I think that's there's a battle there for which one's the better interview.
Yeah, Jameis Winston is epic, and honestly, I hadn't looked at the text line, and as you said that, I peeked over, and there's already half dozen folks saying Jameis Winston as well. Who agree with
that
you?
was off my own brain. I want to point that out. I have not read the text line yet, so me and the text line are in agreement on it, though.
Yeah, Jameis Winston is great. He's quirky. I think Jameis Winston has matured a lot. He had some incidents at Florida State that were cringy and dicey and borderline kind of gross, or not just borderline, but gross, but Jameis Winston's now fun and endearing, and people love him. And, when he threw the picks against the Broncos, the pick sixes, the famous Broncos-Browns game, he had some quote about when is God going to allow him to stop throwing pick sixes.
Yeah,
something
the Lord's
like
going to reveal, or not reveal, it's something like that. Relieve him from pick sixes.
Yes, so Jameis is a good candidate for sure. 303-713-1043 if you want to get in on the RamosLaw.com text line. But again, this is the first time we've heard from JK, at least to my knowledge, since he signed the $20 million deal. And we'll play you the cut here in a moment on unfinished business with Dobbins. It's something he says at the end that really catches my attention. It's about how he thought he could have played in the AFC title game. Why don't we listen to it so people get the context? But there's plenty to discuss. But to me, if J.K. Dobbins could have played in the AFC title game, why didn't he play in the AFC title game? Here's Dobbins.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of unfinished business. When I went down, when I got hurt, I think I was like, I want to say third or fourth total rushing yards in the NFL. So for that to happen, the thing that hurt my feelings the most was knowing that I was right there in grasp of something, special, especially because, the injury thing is it's been so unfortunate for me because when you look at some people, right, you say injury prone, you get the rolled ankles, the hamstring strains or whatever you're getting. The stuff that I'm getting is done for the season. Let's go get some surgery. You know what I'm saying? So it's dang, why am I getting these unfortunate things? But, it's all part of God's plan. And I'm always keep going. A lot of people wondering, damn, this guy, how is he steady coming back? Well, I don't see the injuries as something that's a downer. I see it as some way to get better, like as a man, as a person, physically. Like, yeah, I get hurt, but now I'm going to come back even better. And then with this injury, I was so close to coming back from it. Right? I believe I could have played in that AFC Championship game. I could have. Like, I practiced well. I had, like, all my numbers. I was hitting all my numbers, and I felt great. And the thing about having a great organization is that they looked out for me, and they wanted to make sure that I was good.
Could have played in the AFC title game. That's where I want to begin, because if Bo Nix was healthy, I understand the reluctance of the coaching staff to say, wait it out, let's beat the Patriots, and we'll get you back in the Super Bowl, because you have that extra bye week, 2 more weeks to get this Liz Frank thing figured out. But JK mentions my numbers were good, so I assume he's talking about his burst, his cutting ability, his speed, all these things that they're measuring with analytics, basically saying he was pre-injury level numbers. And he kind of catches himself there and says, well, that's why it's good to play for a great organization, because they're looking out for me. Didn't want to throw anyone under the bus, but if you could have a latte with Sean Payton, and he knew how poor Jarrett Stidham was going to play in that game, and that a blizzard was coming in the second half, something that he wasn't even aware, thought it might snow, not that it was going to blizzard, basically our only blizzard of the winter, J.K. Dobbins would have played in the AFC title game, and we would have been going to Santa Clara, baby. I'm not sitting here saying that the Broncos would have beaten the Seahawks with Jarrett Stidham and J.K. Dobbins. I think they would have gotten their asses kicked, much like the Patriots did, but they would have at least played in the game. And there's a lot of theories here and a lot of reasons why. Number one, and probably the most accurate, is the Broncos were indeed protecting J.K. Dobbins. Their doctors were saying, you're not ready to play yet, even if you feel like it, even if your numbers back it up. But number two is a little more fun and a little more interesting. And that is that Sean Payton had gassed up Jarrett Stidham so much, told Tracy Wolfson they were going to win the game, which I don't know if that was on the record or off the record, but Tracy broadcast it to millions of people. So therefore, my eyes, it's on the record. I trust Tracy's journalistic judgment, that he wanted to go prove to everyone that he's the smartest guy in the room, and he paid all this money to Sparky Stiddy, and this is exactly why he had Stidham in the mix, and they were going to beat the Patriots with Jarrett Stidham and RJ Harvey and Tyler Bidet. Who was on the field when you gifted New England 7 points? Jarrett Stidham and Tyler Bidet, the infamous backwards chest pass. I think Sean thought he didn't need JK in the AFC title game. And as a Broncos fan, I know it's 2 months old. That ticks me off. J.K. Dobbins should have played in the AFC title game, and the Broncos should have participated in Super Bowl 60.
I don't know, Will. I think I'm going to disagree on this one. I think it's
fine.
And J.K. Dobbins said it in that clip we had there. It was in his best interest not to play in that game. No one returns from that injury on that timeline to the point of him playing in that AFC championship. I think Sean Payton wanted to win that game more than anything, and he knows that J.K. Dobbins gives him a great chance to do that. I don't think Sean Payton was the one holding J.K. Dobbins out of that game.
Well, someone held him out. Who did? The trainers? The doctors?
Yeah, the doctors, the trainers, maybe the penners themselves. I don't think Sean Payton is making the call of sitting J.K. Dobbins out of that game.
I hope not. Because it's really disappointing if Sean wanted to show everyone he could win with Stiddy and didn't need JK. I mean, this is the guy who didn't take the points with a backup QB to go up 10-0 and then called a trash 4th-and-1 play that would have given the Broncos a double-digit lead with a blizzard coming in. Are we really saying Sean Payton exercised the best judgment that week? Between the comment to Tracy, hyping up Stiddy to a point where Stiddy could never possibly live up to the expectations, the 4th-and-1 call, Sean Payton did not have a good day. And that's why his tone a couple days later when he was all smiley and happy and goofy rubbed people the wrong way. You just lost the AFC title game. Broncos just lost an AFC title game at home in Denver. And you're going to go up there joking? What was the tone the owner took when he had his presser the next day? Very serious. Very job's not done. Head coach didn't have the same tone. So Sean didn't have a good week from whatever it was, January 19th to January 26th. And in my eyes, not playing J.K. Dobbins, unless someone went over his head, which there are very few people in that organization that can go over Sean's head. We all know one. It's Greg Penner. Maybe the doctors. But J.K. said himself, all my numbers were the same. I wanted to play. I thought I could play. And then he caught himself in the interview not trying to throw the Broncos or the organization under the bus. Again, I heard this last night, and I just thought, ugh, what a missed opportunity. J.K. Dobbins should have suited up in the AFC title game because at the end of the day, in my eyes, it's the player's decision. J.K. knew what he had on the line. He knew if he gets hurt, he may not cash in this offseason with a $20 million contract, $8 million guaranteed. But what's he said since he got to Denver? Over and over and over again, I want a ring. I've been in the playoffs every year, and I've never gotten a ring. This dude is as competitive as they come. It's why Philip Lindsay and I had the bet about whether or not he'd play in the Super Bowl. Because I knew J.K. would have played in the Super Bowl, and then we learned last night he was ready to go in the AFC title game.
Yeah, and it feels like maybe you won that bet if you want to go in retrospect here and ask Phil for that steak dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Him saying this, but I don't know if I trust him exactly that his numbers were the same and that he was the same version of himself. I find that very hard to believe that he was in a position to go out there and play. I think he wanted to go out there and play, and I actually think it was in the best interest that he didn't play. Knowing that he was going into an offseason as a free agent, I think it was best for him to not play. If anything, it was in the organization's best interest for Dobbins to go out there and play. At that point, it's like, hey, we have 1, maybe 2 more games with you here, and then we can cut you free in free agency. We don't owe you any money at that point. So I just find it hard to believe that the organization would be the one holding him back. Specifically, Sean Payton would be the one holding him back when Sean Payton has no ties to J.K. Dobbins. He easily could have just used him up and thrown him out and went out and got a different running back this offseason or in the draft or however they went about it. So I just don't think that, 1, J.K. Dobbins was healthy enough to play, and 2, that Sean Payton was the one holding him back.
He just said he was. We just listened to it.
Okay, you think that everything he said, I don't know. I think he wanted them to be the same. I'm going to call a little bit of BS on J.K. Dobbins, saying that he was the same version of himself and he had the same numbers that week of practice as he did during training camp, let's call it.
Listen, you're making a lot of sense. Don't get me wrong. I'm agreeing with 90% of what you're saying. I think the 10% you're leaving out of this is what I was pointing to, and that's Sean Payton's ego. He didn't think he needed J.K. Dobbins to win that football game. Because, again, he went up to a national reporter with a microphone that reaches millions of people and told her, we're going to win this football game. He truly thought.
See, and to me, that.
But he thought in his heart of hearts they were going to win that game with Jarrett Stidham. He was ridiculously wrong. They scored 7 points 5 minutes into the game and couldn't muster a single point the last 55 minutes. But Sean did say they were going to win the football game.
I think that's the attitude you need to have when you have a backup quarterback and you need to have full team belief buying into the vision that he's pitching. I don't know. If you were to ask him, I'm sure there was a little bit of doubt in his mind about winning that game, but Sean Payton can't be the face of doubt in that locker room. He has to be the face of 100% confidence so the team can rally behind him.
Then say it behind closed doors. Don't say it to reporters. I'm with you. If he needs to rah-rah, then do it all behind closed doors. Tell everyone you believe in Steady. You don't have a time machine. You can't go fix Bo Nix's ankle. You can't make sure it doesn't get fractured. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. He wasn't supposed to walk into meetings and go, well, guys, fun season.
Yeah, or hopefully we win. He needs to go out there and say, no, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, but Sean's been around long enough to say that, to know that he can say that to his players. He probably shouldn't say it to reporters. And it sort of blew up in his face. I mean, Sean Payton
He's a method actor. He had to do it even in front of the media, too.
Sean Payton was rightfully criticized and ripped an awful lot.
No, and you were right. He did have some bad judgment in that game, in that entire week. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but again, I think that he was buying in. He was almost tricking himself into believing that the Broncos were going to win that game when he says it to Tracy Wolfson, and the ego that he has, even right after the game, the divisional round being like, no, Stidham can get this done. I think he was still even tricking himself into that thought process.
Yeah, I mean, Sean knows more about football in his pinky than I will in my entire body. I get it. But we just have a fundamental disagreement about whether or not Jarrett Stidham's an NFL quarterback. Sean clearly thinks he is. I clearly think he's not. And right now, Jarrett Stidham's now 1-4 in his career and gifted the Patriots 7 of their 10 points in a 10-7 loss. So, interesting stuff. I wish JK had played. I think we would have gone to the Super Bowl. And by we, I mean literally as a station gone to Santa Clara. And, of course, the Broncos would have gone as well. So what about
real quick?
Okay.
Also at the beginning of this, not regarding Sean Payton at all, but J.K. Dobbins talking about his injuries. He almost made it sound like no, I don't get those rolled ankles. I get those torn ACL. Like that, is that better? Is that the argument he was trying to make there at the beginning?
Yeah, he said he's not injury prone because he gets the big dogs. He gets the one that requires surgery, not just your run of the mill sprained ankle out a week or two.
Yeah. And to me, that's 100% worse than just rolling your ankle or having a little hamstring tightness and you're out for a couple weeks. Like, no, he's bragging almost about like, no, I get the big dogs where I'm out for the season.
Well, and there's two things at play here. One, remember that JK went and fought with a bunch of people on social media. and was favoriting tweets and liking tweets and retweeting people that were mad that the Broncos didn't sign an outside free agent running back. I mean, we went through the list a dozen times, and they all found different homes, and people were disappointed. He liked one of my tweets. He didn't fire back at me, but he liked it. I showed the guys on the drive, and I said it was disappointing that they didn't land a Kenneth Walker or a Travis Etienne, a Kenneth Gainwell, et cetera, et cetera. So JK was very online and very aware of the narrative that he's injury-prone. And two, again, I mentioned at the start, he didn't have a press conference, so this was the first time that he had a platform to kind of get some things off his chest. So this is a classic. How old is J.K. Dobbins? 26, 27? This is a classic mid to late 20s guy who's reading stuff on social media about him, and he doesn't like it, and he wants to respond. I have no problem with that. People say stuff about me on social media. Not to this extent. I'm not as famous, nowhere near as J.K. Dobbins. But when people come at me, I fight them back. I get it, but I'm also in the media. I don't play for the Broncos, so there's a difference there. I think JK has rabbit ears, is what I'm getting at. And when he got asked to go on NFL Network last night, one of his main agendas was to make sure people know he's not injury prone, even though you and I are kind of laughing at that because it's nothing personal. It's not his fault, but J.K. Dobbins is definitely injury prone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell we have 3 cuts on the iPad. I don't know if we're going to play them all here. In each single one, he mentions the injury at some point where it wasn't necessarily it didn't have to be a part of the answer. He almost went out of his way to address the injury prone thing 3 separate times. So he definitely has a little bit of rabbit ears when it comes to the injury prone label. I don't think it's that unfair of a label, though.
No, it's guy can't finish the season healthy. So it's just kind of how his career has unfortunately played out. But what about coming back to Denver? Because he got a lot of money. He got signed very quickly into free agency. Last year he had to wait till June. This year he had to wait, 24, 48 hours? It wasn't long at all. Why come back to Denver, JK?
Well, it was a long, crazy process to get to that point. But I'm happy to be home. Denver is home, man. I've made, a good connection with the fans out here. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. I love the ownership. I love everything about Denver. So it was great to get a deal done and be able to stay home where I think I will thrive. I was thriving last year, but something unfortunate happened, which that's part of the game. But this year, I don't think that's going to happen.
I was thriving last year, and then something unfortunate happened. So you're right that he kind of brings up the injury thing again. I think J.K. Dobbins is so desperate to prove that he can be trusted to play a full season. And again, no one's blaming him. The Raiders tackle, a lot of people said it was a hip drop tackle. One that should be banned, one that the NFL needs to monitor more and flag more and heavily fine, get it out of the game. And that's not J.K. Dobbins' fault. That could have been a Tyler Bidet carry where he got hip dropped. That could have been an R.J. Harvey carry where he got hip dropped. Jaleel McLaughlin was getting some game day jerseys at that point, not always inactive. It could have been any one of the Broncos running backs. It just happened to J.K., and no one's blaming him, but you just signed a $20 million contract. Why do you feel the need to defend it so much, I guess? Just go ball out this season and win a Super Bowl and play in an AFC title game and play in the biggest game in sports. And guess what? People stop talking about the injuries.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to change the narrative when the only thing that's going to change the narrative is him going out and having a fully healthy season, a regular season, into the playoffs and being available in the playoffs as well. So I think he's, just over concerned with the injury prone label. And you're right, he did go out and get a bunch of money this offseason. So if anything, he should not have to address the injury things. Like, hey, the Denver Broncos believe in me enough to give me this kind of contract to go out there. I think the fan base should be able to rally behind that. Again, we'll see if it works out that way. But you were right. I actually forgot a little bit what the injury was on that hip drop tackle. It was a hip drop tackle, and that could have happened to anybody. It's not his fault necessarily that it keeps happening to him. Same with like a torn ACL. Those kind of come out of nowhere. It's not like you can really do much prevention for a torn ACL. That's the kind of stuff that just happens out there, especially when you're a freak athlete like these guys are and able to cut and jump the way they are. It just kind of comes with it a lot of the time. So I don't know why he's playing so much defense on the injury-prone thing. Go out there and let your actions show.
Yeah, because people were mean on social media. I mean, I think that's my answer to it. You can go read more about that at DenverSports.com. Well, we got a few more minutes in this segment. Want to pivot to something else, Broncos, and that is ESPN ranking them number 5 in the NFL in offseason moves thus far. This comes from Ben Solak of ESPN.com, and he says they've had the 5th best offseason in the league. Now, he's combining signing external free agents, which the Broncos signed one special teamer from the Bengals, re-signing your own guys. We certainly know Denver did a lot of that, and also trades. And they pulled off a blockbuster for Jalen Waddle from Miami. Solak wrote, quote, "This is the sort of move that contending teams in rookie QB contract windows should make. With the 30th pick in a weak draft class, the Broncos were unlikely to get a needle-moving player for 2026. Instead, they used that pick and a middle-round pick to get Jalen Waddle." Man, number 5 in the league, only behind a handful of teams.
Can I try to guess?
Yeah, sure. If you want to go.
Are the Raiders ahead of them?
Mm-mm.
Really? I thought the Raiders had a really good offseason.
Well, that whole Max Crosby drama, I think, sort of tainted it a little bit. But yes.
I still thought they would have been ahead of them. Are the Giants ahead of them?
No.
All right. One last guess, and if I'm wrong, we could just move on here. I'll go with the Ravens.
Nope.
Okay. Well, now I'm curious to hear who's ahead of them.
He has the Steelers, the 49ers, the Lions, and the Saints ahead of the Denver Broncos. Number 5 on this list. I would encourage people to go read Ben's piece because it's very research intensive, very heavily thought out. You know, this isn't, I think sometimes with power rankings, guys are just throwing darts looking for attention. I didn't get that vibe from this ranking of 1 to 32, but Denver being at 5, and I like the logic that this is what I tried to tell people after the trade who were screaming on the text line, "Oh, I can't believe they gave up a first-round pick for Jalen Waddle." It's essentially a second-round pick. That's what it is. It's 30th overall. It's a historically weak draft class. George Payton and Sean Payton probably have 15 to 20 first-round grades on guys. All 15 to 20 will be gone by the time Denver would have selected at 30. And this was enough, combined with bringing back guys like J.K. Dobbins. And, of course, they re-signed their inside linebackers, although Solak sort of dumped on that a little bit in his piece as well. That trade, like, where do you think the Broncos would be without that trade is what I'm getting at. I think they'd be somewhere in the 20s. I think they got bonus points upon bonus points upon bonus points that, yeah, there was some sexy free agent signings, don't get me wrong, but trade-wise, this was the biggest trade of the NFL offseason in my eyes. Of course, it would have been Max Crosby, but that got rescinded. I'd be curious if people have other candidates. I don't have all the trades that were made in front of me, but what I'm saying is the Broncos scored a lot of points on this list because they did something gutsy. They shoved all their poker chips in the middle of the table, and that should be applauded in my eyes. It was a frustrating first week. I'll give everyone that. I used words like baffling, confusing, frustrating, disappointing. That all changed when I got that notification that the Broncos had traded for Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, and you're right. I think they probably would have been in probably the late 20s if this Jalen Waddle trade had not happened. So it's a good thing that it did, and we all talked about it, how this is the timeline of when you have a rookie or a quarterback on a rookie contract, you need to go all in. You mentioned you had the phrase, shove your chips to the middle of the table. That's what the Broncos did. They're willing to trade a premium draft pick, and the first-round draft picks, those don't get moved for nothing. There's obviously got to be a big return, and I think the Broncos got the right return, though, in Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to drastically change this offense. I think it's going to be a more consistent offense. I wouldn't be surprised if this is an offense that wins more games for the team than we saw last year. I felt like a lot of the times the Broncos were leaning on the defense to win some of these games.
Yeah, when you beat the Jets 13-11, that's credit to the defense.
Yeah,
when you beat the Raiders 10-7, that's credit to the defense. Exactly.
I think it's going to be a not completely flipped this year, but I think the offense is going to win this team a lot more games than what we've seen the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and if the offense does win more games, people are saying they're not going to go 14-3, and I don't think they're going to go 14-3. The schedule's much tougher. Cecil Lammey and I both picked them to go 13-4 last year, got laughed at. We were both wrong by a game, wrong in the opposite direction. We'll see when the schedule comes out. That's always a fun show. You and I will hang out that night. James Maryland will probably be in the mix as well. We'll go through it game by game, but my gut is I'm going to pick the Broncos to go 10-7, 11-6 this year, whereas if you're right and the offense can win them a couple more games, then maybe I should be leaning more towards 12-5, 13-4, or something like that. But again, I got to see how it plays out, see the roadmap to the season when we get it here about 6 weeks from today, NFL schedule. Oh, by the way, J.K. Dobbins in that interview sort of spilled as well. Not spilled, but he had a football camp in Mexico City, which good for him. Very cool, spreading the game internationally. But they asked him, are you hinting at us something here? Because the Broncos play the 49ers on the road, but the 49ers are the home team in Mexico City. And he laughed and said, I plead the fifth. So Wouldn't shock me if the Broncos are the game in Mexico City. We know they have a huge fan base everywhere. They have a very big fan base in Mexico. They've been active with that, which I applaud the organization. And just a quick thought, I'd love it. I'd love it. You know why? It's 6:27 in Denver, Colorado right now. You know what time it is in Mexico City? 6:27. You know what the flight is to Mexico City? 4 hours. That's the equivalent of flying to New England. That's the equivalent of flying to Philly. I am all good with Mexico City because you don't have to change time zones at all, not even a single hour, and you don't have to go sit on a bird for 9 or 10 hours from the East Coast to get to London or Munich or wherever the heck Goodell wants to play next. I would be very okay with Mexico City Broncos this year against the 49ers.
There's one, probably the biggest component of it that you missed there. Do you know what the elevation is in Mexico City?
Oh, yeah, you'd be playing at altitude. It's higher than Denver, correct?
Higher than Denver, 7,300 feet.
So, yeah, you basically, I mean, between the amount of Broncos fans that would be there, your body clock not being super off, and the elevation, may feel like a Denver home game, even though it's technically a road game. I would love it. Real quick thought, you'd be cool with the Broncos playing in Mexico City this year?
I think that'd be awesome. I think, obviously, some of the international games get to be a bit much when you're going over to England, or this year they have teams going to Australia.
Which is insane. Did you see that news today that game's going to kick off at 10:35 a.m. on Friday morning so that we can all watch it at 5:30, 6:30 at night on Thursday night in the States?
If only there was some closer location that they could play these games where it's on the same time zone as us. To me, they're getting a little egregious with all the international games. It's a bit much for me, but I think Mexico City is one of the easier ones if you are going to do it. Again, you mentioned it, same time zone. It's actually a quicker flight from Denver to there than San Francisco to there.
Yep.
So that would help the Broncos there. So if you're going to play an international game, I think Mexico City's the better of the options.
All right, Nikola Jokic went nuts last night in the desert. A stat line that if any other NBA player had would break the internet. Nikola Jokic just called it Tuesday night. We'll dive into it next.
With J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey back in the Broncos running back room, what will that mean for their plans in the upcoming draft?
I don't think they're going to draft a running back in the second round. There's no chance.
No chance.
I mean, they drafted one last year in the second round.
I know.
And they love Harvey. George Payton, they love Harvey.
Pet kitty.
Right.
Pet cat. Yeah.
So, maybe they draft fourth round because he got 2 fourth-round picks.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
All Seas Collectors Showcase, 3-day event with free admission, presented by Aurora Rise. Live auction by former football player Nate Jackson. Silent charity auction, Cecil Lamming, comics, sports cards, Pokemon, and more at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds, April 3rd through the 5th.
Jacobs Law and 303 Law 4040, the husband and wife law firm where you don't get passed around to a law clerk or some call center overseas. You always get to meet directly with me and my lovely wife, Kimberly. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
Let me ask you something. Is your money doing everything it can for you?
I don't know. How would I know?
Is it automatically saving for special events and keeping you posted on its progress? Like at Huntington Bank?
Oh, no.
Is it tracking your spending so you can make the best choices at the mall?
Nope.
Or setting limits on your teenager's debit card?
Definitely not.
Then it could certainly be doing more.
Yeah, sure sounds like it.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
Hey guys, your boy Snake here. Just because it's winter doesn't mean I'm sitting around waiting for the spring. I'm planting the yard, moving dirt, getting things ready for what's next. My friends at Bozar Chevrolet and Celebration Chevrolet, they're doing their cleaning right now too. It's the Not So Winter event. Between everyday driving, busy schedules, and everything life throws at you, your vehicle works hard. And if you've been thinking about upgrading, now's the time to clean up your driveway and drive something new. Only at Bozar Chevrolet and Celebration Chevrolet. The Not So Winter event going on right now.
So, you're ready to propose, huh?
Yeah, man. She's definitely the one.
What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler.
I could use some help with that.
Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Hey, Brandon Stokely here. Winter might be hanging on, but Colorado warm one day,
freezing the next. And trust me, summer is coming in hot. Beat the rush with an early bird air conditioner tune-up and inspection for only $49 from Rocks Heating and Air. They'll inspect your system and keep you cool when everyone else is scrambling. Call ROX Rocks Heating and Air today and schedule your tune-up before the end of March. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
It's the College Hoops Showdown, wall-to-wall basketball, and zero time to mess with your lawn. At Waterloo Turf, they help Denver homeowners trade yard work for game time. No mowing, no watering, no mud on game day. Just a green championship-level lawn all season long. Perfect for watch parties, pets, and backyard hoops. From backyards to putting greens, Waterloo Turf installs premium artificial turf built for Colorado. Visit waterlooturf.com/Denver and book your free consultation. Waterloo Turf, get your Saturdays back, and don't miss the buzzer.
Still haven't filed your taxes? You're not alone, but the longer you wait, the harder the IRS can hit back. Penalties, interest, letters, none of it goes away on its own. At Advanced Tax Solutions, resolving IRS problems is all they do. Whether you're a year behind or 10, their licensed tax professionals can step in fast, stop the stress, and help you get back on track. Don't let another day slip by. A quick call could mean a quick resolution. Contact my friends at Advanced Tax Solutions today and take control of your tax situation before the IRS does.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less. Missing out is like ignoring a check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated, so don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart, just complete the purchase. Hurry! This deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
This segment on 104.3 The Fan's brought to you by Fitness Gallery, selling the world's finest fitness equipment.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station, 104.3 The Fan.
What a treat it is to watch Nikola Jokic play basketball, particularly if you're up late last night. Nuggets and Suns tipped at 9:13 was the official go time of that basketball game. They're accommodating NBC and national TV, whatever, but man, I felt like an East Coast sports fan last night. I felt like a Celtics or a Knicks fan watching my team play out in L.A. I don't know how they do it on the East Coast because 9:13 was an absurd tip time. Now, it was worth it. I did make it to the end. I kept saying, got to go to bed. And then next thing I know, it's like a 4-point game, 9 minutes left. It's like, well, I'm not going to bed. I'm going to see how this plays out. Huge game for the Nugs as they pursue the 3 seed and officially hold off the Suns. They will not be in the play-in, barring a collapse based on that 125-123 win last night over Phoenix. But a lot of thoughts. I want to start here, Dante. Nikola Jokic goes for 23, 17, and 17. If LeBron James did that, you would get a breaking news banner blasted to your phone at 1 in the morning. Nikola Jokic does it, and it's just called a Tuesday night. I mean, we are so spoiled with this guy. Oh, by the way, he only had 2 turnovers as well. Protected the basketball much better last night than he had been since basically the injury happened down in Miami and he came back. I say it a lot, but I'm going to say it again. We cannot take this guy for granted because not only does he go for 23, 17, and 17, oh, by the way, he hit the game winner with 11 seconds left, put the Nuggets up 2. Suns call timeout. Little trouble getting the ball in. Actually got a decent look with Devin Booker to win it. Came up short, and then they had a little floater at the buzzer, but I think based on a couple of replays, that basket would not have counted. I think it came after the red light was on the backboard. But, yeah, let's just start with Yoke, man. We are so spoiled because 23-17 and 17 in Denver, we go, oh, that sounds like a Jokic game. That is a historically great game, and we see it all the time from this guy.
Yeah, and you're right. It's almost taken for granted at this point of like, oh, that's just what Jokic does. And I think last night particularly was a bad matchup for the Suns. They don't have a lot of big guys that can go up there and challenge with Jokic. It almost felt like Jokic was toying with the Suns. And they would get a lead, and then he would kind of take his foot off the gas. And then the game would get close again. He's like, oh, fine, I guess I'll go do really good at basketball again, and I'll make this game winner, or I'll go for 17 and 17 in assists and rebounds. It's just ridiculous what he's able to do on the basketball court. But yeah, I do think yesterday's matchup particularly lent him towards having that big game that he had. But it feels like he can do this against almost anybody. There's a handful of centers that give him a little bit more trouble. But when we're talking a little bit more trouble, that probably means a 25, 10, and 10 kind of game,
Exactly.
Which is still ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Phoenix, they had no answers for Nikola. He did whatever he wanted. It's a real shame that he's not even in the MVP conversation. I'm not going to sit here and go blue in the face that he should win it. I understand SGA's having an unreal year. I understand Luka's having an unreal year. Even Wemby is playing phenomenal basketball with the Spurs. There's a lot of good candidates, but the fact now that he just doesn't even get mentioned, and the odds makers are reflecting that. I mean, you can get Nikola Jokic at like 100-1 to win the award at this very moment. He's not going to win it. Bums me out a little bit that he's not coming off 5 in a row. I think it would have been easier to swallow if he didn't have 2 MVPs taken from him. One, I'm going to say stolen. The Joel Embiid selection was a theft. The SGA won last year. I thought Nikola should have won. Both guys had strong cases. I would have leaned Nikola, but I understand it was closer. It wasn't a farce like the Embiid one. But 23-17-17, that screams to me MVP, man. There's not another player in the league with that unique of a skill set, and the fact he's been totally just basically booted out of the national conversation for that award, I think is, A, I think it's disrespectful, and B, I think it's a little Jokic fatigue, which I'm just glad we don't have any of that here in Denver, because if the Nuggets didn't have Nikola Jokic, they would be a lottery team, and we'd be looking at ping pong balls to see where they're drafting. It's a treat to watch him. It's also disappointing that the national narrative is not sort of appreciating this greatness for what it is.
Yeah, and stay with me on this because it might come off as a hot take and you might turn you off in the first sentence. Do you know what's better than winning the MVP?
What's that?
Not winning the MVP because you've won it so many times. It's like Michael Jordan not winning the MVP in certain years when they gave it to Charles Barkley, or they gave it to, I think Karl Malone won one of those, or LeBron James not winning some of those MVPs because Steve Nash won them, or I guess that was more Kobe Bryant.
Derrick Rose infamously got one from LeBron. Yeah,
exactly. So that's almost like the next level of stratosphere that Jokic has been pushed into at this point. Is he's so good and he's won so many MVPs that he's almost like too good for the MVP, and they feel the need to search out these other players in the league to give it to.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point. You're right. The greats of all time have gone through this. MJ went through it. Kobe went through it. LeBron went through it. You know, regardless of your opinions of, I guess, LeBron, because he's such a lightning rod. But those are 3 of the greatest basketball players to ever suit up. They all could have had more MVPs, and you're right. Voter fatigue played into that and sort of robbed them of a couple. And that's sort of why I prefaced it with if he had won 5 in a row, I think I'd be like, whatever. He's going to retire with 5. He's got 5. That's great. You say so many MVPs. 3 is so many. I'll give you that. But he could legitimately have 5 and probably should have 5. He definitely should have 4, if not 5 in a row. So that's where it bothers me just a little bit that this didn't break the internet. And 23-17 and 17 should break the internet, and it didn't. Other takeaways from this Nuggets game last night, look, they had a really good second quarter, kind of a sleepy start, then an excellent second quarter, and then kind of an equally as bad third quarter. But to me, Dante, clutch time with Aaron Gordon just feels so much different. It feels so much more confident. You know, I know Michael Malone took a little victory lap when he went on ESPN a couple weeks ago and said, Denver's struggling in clutch. We're not used to seeing that. He was puffing his chest. Hey, under me, we won these clutch games. They can't win them under the new guy. I think there's a direct correlation to Aaron Gordon there. It's just something about his presence feels like when these games are tight, they're going to win. I mean, last night he hit that corner 3 that was super big in that basketball game with just a minute or so left. We know what he did against the Clippers, the dunk at the buzzer in the playoffs last year to steal game 4, get that series to 2-2. I just think that for all this hand-wringing about the Nuggets stink in the clutch, Well, they stink in the clutch because Aaron Gordon's been hurt most of this season. If he's on the floor in the playoffs, I expect the clutch time to get a lot better.
Yeah, there's just a lot more trust out there on the basketball court. You know everyone's going to be where they should be. And I know Cam Johnson's kind of the new guy to this team here, and he's most likely going to play in a lot of these clutch games. But I think you can deal with having one guy on the outside looking in, and at this point, he might not even be on the outside looking in. But when you have Aaron Gordon out there, there's just a level of confidence I have in this team down the clutch that between Jokic and Murray during their two-man game, and the other team can't cheat off of Gordon because the second they do that, Jokic is going to find him for a dunk or an alley-oop or a three-pointer like it was last night. So you're right. There's definitely a different vibe to this team in the clutch time. And I will say, though, Zach pointed out on the drive, the Nuggets actually lost clutch time in terms of like a plus-minus.
Sure, but they won the basketball game. They did just enough.
And that's what matters even more than anything is winning the basketball game. So I won't say it's 100% solved with Aaron Gordon out there, but I feel a lot better about it, and I think they're in a much better place of it. I don't think it's 100% no matter what. If Aaron Gordon's out there and in a clutch game, they're going to win it. But I think they're going to win more likely than they're going to lose, and you couldn't have said that about this team 2 months ago.
Yeah, I thought they took the foot off the gas just a little bit. They were too worried about burning clock and not worried about scoring the basketball, and that's why that game got tighter than it probably should have. But a big win for the Nugs, and they could still hunt down the Lakers for the number 3 seed. Jared Bednar's the head coach of the Avalanche. Jared Bednar's got a big decision to make come round 1, game 1. It could define whether or not the Avs win the Stanley Cup. We'll dive into it next.
Your bracket's busted, destroyed. It's embarrassing. But hey, we've all been there. The good news? Denver Sports is throwing you a lifeline. It's the Second Chance Bracket presented by Waterloo Turf and Xfinity. Your shot at redemption and $1,000. Dust yourself off. Head to DenverSports.com/bracket and prove your first bracket was just a warm-up. Entries close before tip-off Thursday, March 26th. That's DenverSports.com/bracket. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your Wi-Fi speeds with you. Thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just a fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's soccer game streaming the other game in 4K. Just like that, in the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap with Wi-Fi Power Boost. What if the places you had to be felt more like the places where you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity, imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit XfinityMobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates of 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees, extra after promotion. Regular rates apply.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
What's going on, guys? Philip Lindsay here, and I know there's at least 50 of you listening to me right now who are thinking about popping that question. And if you're ready for all that, you know you need a diamond. So let me save you time and money by telling you something as simple as this. Whether you're starting your next chapter with your perfect diamond engagement ring, or celebrating a new milestone, or finally just doing something special for yourself for once, this is where it's going to begin. Imagine the finest jewelry legends all in one store together, making you feel just like family, and their service is going to reflect that. So come shop the finest loose diamonds in Denver. They have every size, shape, and price range you can imagine, in the largest selection of engagement ring settings I've ever set eyes on. And not only are they going to share the secrets of the business with you, they're going to give you the best price in Colorado, guaranteed. So why wouldn't you want to create moments and memories for yourself and the ones you love by going to Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche, Denver's first family of fine jewelers. Located in Cherry Creek North on 3rd Avenue, and also in Inglewood at Broadway and Bellevue. And don't forget to mention my name, Philip Lindsay, when you step through one of those doors.
When the Nuggets are knocking down threes, you score too. If Denver hits 15 or more three-pointers, you score a free 28-ounce Gatorade Lower Sugar the very next day at your friendly King Soopers. Gatorade Lower Sugar is scientifically formulated with Gatorade's #1 proven electrolyte blend and has 75% less sugar than Gatorade Thirst Quencher and no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors. Big shots deserve next-level hydration. Only at King Soopers.
At Thirsty Lion Scratch Kitchen, craft cocktails and beer, every dish is made fresh daily, from chef-driven, globally inspired flavors to the classics you crave. Behind the bar, handcrafted cocktails meet a curated lineup of local and regional beers. It's a place to gather, unwind, and connect, where the energy is lively and the experience is always elevated. Thirsty Lion. Come as strangers, leave as friends. Visit them at the corner of 16th and Wynkoop or at thirstylionrestaurant.com.
Ditch the bland, flavorless sports talk and tune into Freshly Graded, where Will Peterson and Marcello Romano serve up piping hot takes and bold opinions with no filter and an extra side of sarcasm. Every weekday at 2 p.m. on the Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Like and subscribe today at Denver Sports 104.3 and come along for the ride. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
Appreciate that freshly graded promo you just heard. Having a lot of fun doing that with Cello on all our digital platforms. Check us out on YouTube, 2 p.m. every day. Talk some Avalanche today with Cello, and that's what I want to do with you here, Dante, because the Avs won 6-2 last night, and I watched every second of that hockey game. Your buddy tells you, hey, the Avs won 6-2. You're like, whoa, okay, they beat them up. Nice. Got revenge from the 7-2 game at Ball Arena just 10 days ago or so. Went into Pittsburgh, got a big 2 points. Oh, by the way, Dallas lost last night in regulation. All of a sudden, it's a 7-point lead for the best record in the NHL, the Western Conference, the Central Division, the President's Trophy, all that good stuff. Certainly not wrapped up or anything like that, but 7 points with a game in hand. Feeling a lot better now about that than we were a week ago. My biggest takeaway, though, was Jared Bednar's going to have a really tough decision to make come round one, game one, when it comes to goaltending. Because if you watched the hockey game last night, Pittsburgh could have had, no joke, 5, 6, 7 goals. Scott Wedgwood was that good. He was magnificent. He was robbing the Penguins left and right, standing on his head, and it allowed his team to get what looked like a laugher. But again, if you viewed the hockey game, it was not a laugher that the final score would indicate. I'm a big who's your goalie round one, game one is who you're rolling with. And I understand when the Avalanche won the Cup in 2022 that they had to juggle goalies, and I thought Bednar did a really good job. But he had to juggle goalies because Darcy Kemper got poked in the eye with a stick and was a pirate. And then Pavel Francouz came in and played pretty well. I mean, Frankie was obviously on the winning side of an 8-6 game against the Oilers. So certainly not a game that's going to the Hall of Fame for defense or goaltending. It was very entertaining. But point being, that to me wasn't ideal. That team was just so loaded they were going to win it if they got competent goaltending, not outstanding goaltending, and that's what happened. I think the Avs are clearly the best team in the NHL, but I want my round one, game one goaltender to be my guy for hopefully 20 games, 22 games, whatever it takes. 16-4 to win the Cup a few years ago. Let's say it's 16-6 this year. That's 22 games. 16-8, that's 24 games. We know Ray Bourque, the infamous Mission 16W. You got to win 16 games to hoist, in my eyes, the best trophy in sports. I'm curious your thoughts. How much sleep do you think Bedsy's losing over this? Because the race to be the Avs' number one goalie in the postseason keeps getting more and more interesting, with Blackwood being thought of as the traditional number one, but right now Wedgwood being the better goalie.
Yeah, and hopefully it ends up being a win-win situation where you could throw either guy out there and go out and win a cup. I will say a little pushback on your hopefully that Wedgwood's the guy for 2022 games. I think they're going to split time at some point.
I hate that strategy in the playoffs, man. If regular season, I'm cool with it. Playoffs, I think you got to let a goalie get in the rhythm, build the consistency, get in the other team's head. I mean, imagine you're playing Dallas and Wedgwood has 2 or 3 games in a row where they only score 1 goal or 0 goals. You're not going to switch back to Blackwood. I think the goalie in hockey is kind of the great equalizer in terms of why do teams sometimes get hot and win the cup? Because the goalie gets hot and wins the cup. I really want my hockey teams trotting out the same goalie if at all possible.
No, and I agree with you, and I think that's probably the more realistic approach, but I definitely think we're going to see multiple goalies regardless of injury. I think that's kind of what's gotten them to this point, and you mentioned it. They're the number one team in hockey, 7-point lead in the division. Now 7-point lead compared to to the second best team in the league as well. So that's what got them here, and I think they're just going to keep rolling with that, and I have no problem with that. I think either goalie can lead this team to a Stanley Cup. They're that good and they're that talented. I will say, and you mentioned it, that their run to the Cup in 22 was a little bit different. They were just head and shoulders above every other team. I think there's a little more competition this year going into the playoffs of who they're going to be facing, and they are beatable, as we've seen in the last 2 playoff rounds, especially last year, losing to Dallas there, where there wasn't a lot of excuses of, Val Nichushkin was doing something crazy, or, Gabe Landeskog was hurt. And I get that he missed part of that series, but he was there for part of the series too. So I think they're going to need both goalies on this trip to winning a Stanley Cup. I would start Wedgwood game 1 and see where it goes from there, but I'm not discounting the fact that we're going to see both.
Yeah, and you're probably right. Like, I understand where you're coming from, that realistically Scott Wedgwood playing 22 games and Mackenzie Blackwood playing 0 games is probably not going to happen. But if you're winning, and you're winning series, and you're stacking wins, and even if you gentlemen sweep the wild card team in round 1 and then you take Dallas out in 7, he's not going to go to Blackwood for the Western Conference Final, barring an injury, something unfortunate like that. But if you made me guess, yes, we will see both goaltenders in the playoffs. Just how the pie chart is divided is ultimately going to be really curious in terms of playing time.
Absolutely, and how it rolls into next season will be even more curious. If they are able to go out and win a Stanley Cup with Scott Wedgwood being mostly the guy, you just gave Blackwood this big contract just a year ago. Kind of might have your hands tied at that point.
Well, your GM's not afraid to make trades, I guess, is the only good news. But conversations for a different day. We just got to have a parade, and the Avs look like they could. Look like they might. Look like they should. We'll see if